Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here, and earlier today, Blizzard announced a handful of changes that are coming to Warlock, every spec, hero talents, and all that in this week's upcoming beta build. This build's not out yet when this video is coming out. It'll be out tomorrow or Thursday, but we're going to review it today because these changes are probably the biggest buffs I've seen any class probably get in a very long time, and it covers everything. Wither bugs are fixed. Other bugs are fixed. Big buffs, rotational changes. Dogs are buffed core-wise for Demonology again. So today, gonna break it all down, look at breakdowns briefly in combat if we have time, and yeah, just go from there. We course add-ons, Twitch, Discord, links down below if you want them, all for free for you guys. The MMO Awards voting ends in a few days. If you guys haven't voted for that and want to, I am nominated for Content Creator of the Year, but vote for anybody if you want. All awesome, great creators are nominated. And the War Within Beta Warlock Spreadsheet is indeed live on Patreon. If you guys want early access to that, the Tier 3 Felgor rank or higher does indeed get it, but it will go live publicly regardless anyways before it all launches. So links appear as well as down below. And yeah, let's get it rolling. I'm actually excited for this. Alrighty, so I am not going to try and get too excited here, but these buffs are actually really big to Warlock. As you can see here, there's a lot of numbers on my screen. There are hero talent buffs, Destro, Demo, AF buffs, and some changes to like core rotational stuff as well. So we're going to hit on all this here, look at breakdowns briefly in combat, and try and give you a good idea where things are going to land. So first off the bat here, Diabolist, Diabolist, whatever you want to call it. So Fellseeker is the Pit Lord's damage amp, the big green thing from his sword he puts out. Chaos Salvo is the thing from Mother of Chaos, and Wicked Cleave is the ability from the Fell Lord it spawns in. 360%, 420, and 830% buffs. Now, it might seem like a lot. It is. These pets were all very bad. They did like 1% on the high end to like 0.7, it seemed like, on the low end overall for your damage contribution as Demonology. Destro about the same. A bit less, actually. So these buffs seem like a lot, and they are. They're probably going to put, I would assume, like Fellseeker and Salvo around like 5-6%. This might be a little higher, but if they want pets to be strong from Diabolist, then these buffs are what they need to do to these pets. So good to see Diabolist going to hit a lot harder. Ruination is the green meteor. This thing obliterates an AoE right now. It's going to hit even harder in AoE and also in single target with this buff. Inferno Bolt is from Mother of Chaos, the 3-shard thing. Nice to see, cool buff there as well. Probably about the same overall for both these in single target, but good to see. Also Diabolist. Remember they said they would tune Destruction and Demonology for Diabolist separately? They've reduced the ritual duration from 20 to 14 for Destruction, which is pretty crazy because Destro Diabolist, one of the better builds has been the Rain of Fire spam build that just consumes shards and gives you more procs of ritual and more pet summons and all that. It is 14 seconds without Cruelty of Kirkgalan, whatever it is, the talent that reduces the ritual duration from 20 to 17. So basically playing a talent, this is 17, so this will be 11 seconds, which is incredibly fast, like, you know, in a fun, engaging kind of manner. So we'll see where that goes, giving you more procs of Chaos Bolt damage increases, so on and so forth. Keep that in mind. More procs of Diabolic Art, which doubles your next shard consuming spells damage by 100%. So Chaos Bolt, keep that in mind. Hellcaller, the Wither buffs. Wither buff by 35 for Affliction specifically, and a 15% aura buff to Wither for both specs. I believe this is just a raw buff to Destro Wither by 15%. Cool to see. This is combined, this is 50, basic Florida math. The bugs from Socrates, Guile, and Mark of Xavius in yesterday's video have been fixed, which is very cool. These amounted to, I believe, 20 and 25% to Wither. So this is roughly a 5% buff to Affliction, or to Wither for Affliction if you add these up, and I believe a 15% buff to Destruction because these still benefit Wither for, you know, Destruction. So overall, basically a net even / 5% gain for Wither. Cool to see, which is good because it likely means Wither is probably around where they want it to be tuning wise with these compensation buffs. So cool to see. Good from there. Blackened Soul buff by 45% for Destro. I believe this was essentially, there's a bug that increases damage by 30%. I believe they're probably going to fix that bug and increase it by 15 overall, but good to see regardless. There's that. Soul Harvester, we haven't even gotten to the spec changes yet. Soul Harvester, Soul Anathema, increased by 35. This is the dot that your big dude puts out whenever you spawn. It's Demonic Soul, your big dude, 35. Wicked Reaping, this is whenever you cast Nightfall, or I believe Demon Bolts via Demonic Core. massive increase to this. The damage when your guy spawns out of them, he does more damage. Basically, big buffs to the dude and the dot he puts out. This likely makes Soul Harvester competitive for both specs here as well. Good to see. Also mentioned this in the video, and Lock the Sword hit on it as well. Sucking on souls not being granted when you get a shard. Fixed. Good to see. Big changes here already. Honestly, even with these changes, I'd be happy. But we have all the specs to get into still. Affliction. Unstable Affliction damage increased by 45%. I hit on this in the video yesterday because, and once again, not saying this is me, but just in general, a basically 50% buff to UA. UA is sitting around 8% now, should be around 12 or 13, maybe even 14. With like Xavius' Gambit stacking and all that. Making our limited one dot do damage. Big increase, probably second or third highest damage source now in single target. Cool to see. Dark Lair damage increased by 55%. Also keep in mind, Malevolent Visionary further amplifies Dark Lair, making it even better. This is going to make Dark Lair hit pretty daggum hard, and also Visionary and Plus can hit even harder too. Big buff to Dark Lair damage, good to see all around. We'll look at it here in a minute. Also, Singularity was not applying infirmity to targets around your target. Didn't even know. Great bug fix. Demonology. Wild Imp damage, our #1 source of damage in most settings, like for single target, increased by 15%. Demon Bolt increased by 55%. Demonic Core has a 50% chance to grant a Demonic Core when your dogs expire. Was 35. So to clarify, I live in Florida, but I know this is not 100%. I don't know how to figure out what it is exactly, average now, but either way, it is not 100% when dogs expire. It is two separate instances of 50%. But it used to be two separate ones of 35%, so it is a buff, not 100%. I think it should be, but still, the fact that they're acknowledging it and all that, good to see a buff there. Shadow Touch didn't benefit. Foul Seeker, Implosion, all stuff, fixed now, good to see. Same with Demonic Brutality not working, very cool. We're not even done yet. Destruction. Chaos Bolt damage, 20% increase. Shadow Burn, 25. Conflagrate, 25. Incinerate, 15. Adding value to like Fire and Brimstone, Burn to Ashes. All buffs here. Now, with all good things, there are some negatives, a couple downsides. Ritual of Ruin. This is the thing that spawns our green Overlord, Smolderon. Now activates after 20 soul shards. Was 15. It's essentially 10 because you play the talent that reduces it by 5. It's essentially now 15 shards playing the talent to summon Smolderon. But honestly, this is likely an attempt to nerf the Rain of Fire build by decreasing the amount of like rewards you get from spending shards faster through this, which devalues your Rate of Chaos in a sense a little bit, devalues a handful of other effects here and there. This buff here adds more value, obviously, to casting Shadow Bolts, or sorry, Chaos Bolts, on top of adding more value to Crashing Chaos, which, you know, modifies this even further. And honestly, Smolderon, the Overfiend, was doing a lot of damage in Shard Gen. This nerfs both his overall damage and getting his Shard Gen a bit less likely, but he was basically a permanent effect when you were playing Rain of Fire builds. This is likely needed without going in and nerfing Rain of Chaos and stuff a bunch. This might shift you. It probably shifts you towards playing the Bolt Spender in single target, which is good. It's needed over Rain of Fire. And it might shift you towards playing Crashing Chaos over Rain of Chaos. We'll see where that goes. Shadowburn also receiving an 80% buff last week, now 25% on top of that. Shadowburn hits really hard now. Very, very hard. So Chaos Bolt buff by 20%. Keep in mind, whenever you gain a ritual, every 11 seconds now with Cruelty of Kurtzran, you gain a 100% increase to your next shard-consuming spell for Destruction, or technically Demo. I've had 2 million Chaos Bolts already before this buff without playing Crashing Chaos. So with this buff, and whether you play Crashing Chaos or not, you're going to see a big increase in bolt damage. Let's look briefly at the specs in combat and show their current breakdown. Once again, beta is not up yet. The build will be out tomorrow. The next day, we can sort of compare and contrast buffs here and go from there. I might not show everything because there's a lot of things to look at here, but I'll show Demo, Destro, Aff briefly, and we'll look at certain things here and there, and yeah. Alrighty, so here we are going to briefly test damage break, or I guess show damage breakdowns for Destro, Demo, and Aff. Keep in mind that this is, once again, this build right here, right now, is not with the buffs in. The build will be up in a day or two. We don't know when. whenever it is, I'll stream it. You can come by and watch. Twitch plug there, or YouTube as well. I stream on both platforms. Very cool. We're going to look at the breakdowns where they're at currently, and I'll talk about what's being buffed, and we can sort of like have a rough comparison as to where things are. I will say my Dark Lair has been bugging out and not showing damage in the details breakdown here. Hopefully it works. I am hitting this dummy here. This one doesn't seem to work anymore. Neither did this one. We're going to find out if it works in general, though. So I am playing this build here. I am playing Xavius' Gambit and Oblivion. I'm playing this. I would play AC, but this is just easier for dummy testing. In most recent sims, it looks like Oblivion might not be worth it in a single target. With the buff to Unstable Affliction, though, it's possible that it is, because you likely want to play Xavius' Gambit now with the buffing UA, and then right below it is Oblivion, which might make it worthwhile. We'll see what happens. We'll see where it goes. We're going to open up normally here and hope for some procs and stuff. Dump some Raptures here. Dump this Haunt. I'm going to cast my Oblivion. I might lose my Shadow's Embrace if I do. It is what it is. Cast this proc. Try and catch Shadow's Embrace. We caught it. Great. Rapture that proc away. Rapture is away. My pet is attacking. That is him right there. So hopefully it is actually recording damage here. We'll find out. Sort of lost track of my dots there. That's okay. Refresh this UA. No big deal. Nobody saw. Dump this proc here. And when it comes to like all the buffs today for Destro and Demo and Affliction, it feels like, looking at the raw, it's like buffs and all that, it feels like Affliction got the least buffs today. Like the buffs to Destro and Demo are more impactful. They were larger, but I think Affliction for the most part is pretty much it's been in a pretty good spot. Blizzard actually nerfed Wither on beta, I think like 2 or 3 weeks ago roughly. Which sort of makes me think that Blizzard, as well as us, weren't really aware of the actual like bugs affecting Wither. And obviously, with the bugs being fixed, they're buffing Wither back to where it is now to compensate. It should be basically a net neutral, maybe like a minor gain, like 5% overall for Wither. But either way, if you're a fan of Wither and what it's been doing, thankfully the bugs have indeed been fixed. Or at least will be tomorrow, and it should hopefully be the same. We're going to wait for one more Dark Lair here to come back around. I'm fishing for procs in my tier set here. We have a lot of shards. We can dump a couple more here. I got a reproc. That's cool. Tier set also does extend the pandemic on the actual effect, which is very nice. Comparatively to before, where, a lot of sets didn't before. This one does, which is cool. So, holding my Oblivion for my minute window here. It does appear to be worth holding for, I believe, on beta, comparatively to pre-patch, where it's not. Once again, sims will be done at some point, and we'll know more about where things are actually at. As far as like raw, what's good, what's bad. Gonna set up here, cast this, cast Singularity, cast my Dark Lair. I'm gonna ascend really quick, hit my Malevolence, catch the TC, we caught it, very cool. And dump these shards. Catch my Shadow's Embrace. It might fall. If it does, it is what it is. Hit my Oblivion, it fell, so be it, whatever. Stack it again. Here's one Shadow Bolt, Rapture, 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 dump this, catch Wither, catch UA, Dark Lair. It's expired somewhere. Let's see. Breakdown wise. Was Dark Lair recorded? Dark Lair's not. There he is. Perfect. 4.4% right there at number 9. So Dark Lair itself is being buffed by 45% in this build. So it should, depending how Malevolent Visionary interacts with it, you should at least see it being somewhere around the 6.5 mark where Shadow Bolt's at, if not maybe even a little higher. Now this is also when Dark Lair's expired from hitting a stun me, so likely a bit lower if I went for another minute here, but either way, it looks to be a decently powerful cooldown now. Keep in mind, also dot extensions, so on and so forth. And once again, Malevolent Visionary damage increase, and, all of that. Also the AoE part of it, pretty cool as well. And on top of that, Unstable Affliction is being buffed by, let me see, what do I have? Where'd that go? Dark Lair is being buffed, just to confirm. Sorry, Dark Lair is actually a little more. Dark Lair is 55%. And Unstable Affliction, which is right here, is 45%. So that 9% is going to look somewhere around 13.5, give or take. It very well could be your second highest source of damage overall, depending on how much, Rapture, where it ends up lying, procs and nerfs, or procs and all kind of stuff. UA will once again be that strong dot. That priority damage we used to have from Unstable Affliction being our limit 1 dot, the one you put up, most damage. It'll have that Affliction feel again. Where, hey, this is my priority target, this is the boss, priority target, whatever, even in AoE, I want to kill this target first, put UA on it, cool. It died, move UA, more priority damage here, give me a shard back, that's pretty good. Wish Oblivion was better. Doesn't seem to be very good right now, but it is what it is. You've got Dark Lair here at 4.3, and you've also got Malevolent Visionary here at 1.8. So Dark Lair will likely make up about 10% of your damage, give or take, depending on you know, end combat, right around there. With these buffs, UA buff as well, and also the Singularity fix is nice. And Wither might get a 5% buff, give or take, probably about the same net neutral, but honestly, pretty good to see. UA and Dark Lair are going to crank. All right, up next we have Demonology. So they have buffed Diabolist, which is this right here. Fellseeker, the Pit Lord ability, buffed by 360%. Chaos Salvo, Mother of Chaos ability. Not the Infernal Bolt, not the extra Ruination. I'm talking the abilities they do when they spawn. This one buffed by 420%. Wicked Cleave from this guy buffed by 830%. They also have buffed Ruination, which is the meteor from this, by 70. Infernal Bolt by 70. On top of all that, Demonology, Wild Imp damage, buffed by 15%. Demon Bolt, 55%. Demonic Cores have a 50% chance per dog, now up from 35 to give a core when they expire. And yeah, that is that. Also, I did a minor update this week, Aura, to work on pet extensions and all that. If you want it, it's in the Wago. Going in here, casting Grimoire, Shadow Bolting, gonna cast my Fire Dog, cast my actual dogs. Let's build some imps here. Now, I have a weak warrior here that tracks what pets are spawning next, all that kind of stuff. We have the Overlord spawning here. Pop this. His Wicked Cleave runs in. For the 10th time, this build right now on beta, what you're seeing right here, is not with the buffs in. The buffs are coming in a later build this week, likely tomorrow, if not Thursday. But we can look at the breakdown here. You guys can sort of add up how much a, I don't know, 420% increase, 800% increase makes to these actual abilities. It's pretty wild. I'll give it a bit longer here to cycle through all the abilities, like one Pit Lord spawning basically now, giving me a Ruination Meteor, which comes down. It hits for 800k right there. They're buffing that by 70%, which might not equate to a crazy amount in single target. It'll hit for, I mean, I don't know, 1.3 million, but in AoE, when that thing hits 7 or 8 mobs, it hits them all for the same value until I believe 8, and then it becomes square rooted. That thing hits really hard still, so we'll see where it goes long term. But Ruination's gonna crush, and at the same time, Infernal Bolt is hitting for, what did it hit for? 700k there. It's getting a buff too. Tyrant can get in here roughly, popping my trinket. Why not? Sure. I'll do one more cycle here of pets. Doomguard's just chilling back there. I don't know what he's doing, but it's okay. Well, you win some, lose some. Hard casting a bolt here apparently. Doesn't matter either way. No big deal. Cast a dog set. I'll do this last Overlord, and then we'll stop roughly to show you the breakdown here. But it's I think there might be more tuning coming to these pets depending on where it all lands. But he runs in and powers my pets by 5%. This is big slash. That right there, that slash is being buffed by 830%. So the breakdown here, Fellseeker is here. This is being buffed by 360%. So basically up 1%. Should go from here to be sitting somewhere probably between these two, roughly. Chaos Salvo, this is the one from Mother of Chaos, about 1% again. She was spawning next there, maybe a little higher, being buffed by 420, so this should be probably right above Demon Bolt. Wicked Cleave, which is sitting right here, 1% roughly, 830%. So this should probably jump to be right about here below Dreadstalker's, about there. A pretty significant jump. Excuse me. On top of that, Wild Imp damage being buffed by 15%. Their number 1 source of damage already. Even higher. Cool, good to see. Demon Bolt, which is sitting right here, not incredibly impactful, but it's there. 55%. This jumps from being about 4% to probably about, I don't know, 6 and a third, give or take. Not bad, we'll take it. Demonic Core generation from dogs, up from 35 to 50% per dog. Not bad, we'll take it. But these pets from Diabolist, which work for both Destro and Demo, are getting significant buffs. Also, Ruination, 70%, going from 2.2. Once again, not super impactful in single target. AoE, much more impactful, but still, probably going from here to about, about what? 3.8% above Felguard here, basically above Grimoire. And Infernal Bolt jumping as well from here to probably about, 3-ish, give or take. Max hit being 744, max Ruination being 1 million. That wasn't even a crit. So these things are going to crush. Diabolist getting a lot of value. Look at Tyrant cranking as well. We'll see where it goes, but Diabolist, Demo, and Destro, which we're going to look at Hellcaller or Destro here, but Diabolist, Destro also could be pretty strong. All right. Also, I lied to you guys. I'm sorry. We're going to look at Diabolist Destro. We've seen Hellcaller a bunch. It's fun. It does what it does. This is the Chaos Bolt build that's best right now when it comes to like current sims and all that, except for the fact that you're playing Reign of Chaos over Crashing Chaos. However, Destro changes. Chaos Bolt buff by 20%, Shadow Burn 25, which is crazy. Conflict rate 25, Incinerate 15. So these are all being buffed in a later build this week. We'll see where it goes. I'm going to play Crashing Chaos here because Chaos Bolt's getting buffed. This does indeed increase bolt value. We will see where it lands, which one's better. The Chaos Bolt buff will make the Rain of Fire build. There'll be less disparity between the two, obviously. Hopefully shifting enough towards just casting Chaos Bolt as our spender in single target again. And on top of that, they're making Ritual Ruin here. Now 20 shards baseline. This will reduce it by 5. So basically, this is now 15 instead of 10. So less Orphean spawns, which is like still good shard gen, still good damage when he spawns, just not active as often. Probably a way to like sort of nerf the Rain of Fire loop of synergy on the Rain of Chaos, which is honestly pretty needed. So nerfing this, in a sense, makes other things a bit less impactful in the Rain of Chaos build, and the Bolt buff helps as well. So we will see where it goes. The big thing with Diabolist Destro, Touch of Rancora literally doubles the damage, reduces the cast time of your next Chaos Bolt, Rain of Fire, or Shadow Burn. You want to cast Chaos Bolt here every time. Even playing Rain of Fire build by 100% damage increase and 50% cast time reduction. I've had 2 million Chaos Bolts already playing this version without Crashing Chaos before buffs. So these bolts are going to hit exceptionally hard whenever everything comes in. But let's look at it briefly here and see where it goes. We'll show you a breakdown in the end, and yeah, that'll be that. So I am playing Soulfire here as well. Soulfire and CDF do work still to like reset Soulfire with CDF on beta. It probably won't when the build comes in. Either way, I'm not playing it. It shouldn't work that way when it comes around. So you still do indeed get Soulfire reset, just not as much as you did before. But no, it's what it is. So Soulfire, Shadow Burn, Conflict Rate. You want to cast Shadow Burn in a single target. Basically, I mean, honestly, pretty much on cooldown for the most part, because the damage it puts out is actually relevant. So I'm going to cast the Bolt here. I'm going to go into Incinerate. Watch this Ritual spawn here. It's going to give me a Pit Lord. Look at this Bolt. Watch this Bolt. 2 million. Pit Lord spawns. Ruination. Soulfire. 3 million. Soulfire. 1.5. Dude, you are launching literal globs of chaos right now. I mean, I don't even know what's going on. These bolts hit really hard whenever they're empowered. I even empowered a Shadow Burn there, and I guarantee hit pretty hard. Like, keep in mind, when it comes to these rituals, these are 20-second rituals, essentially. 17 with Touch of Rank, with Cruelty of Hexram, reducing the duration by 3. These rituals, I'm overcapping here, it doesn't even matter, honestly, are going to be 11 seconds and not 17 when this build comes in a day or two. So these pets that are spawning now are going to be spawning essentially, what, like 35% faster or whatever than what you see right here. And we're cycling through them pretty fast. That's a 1.4 million Chaos Bolt there with no Crashing Chaos. That was a 2.4 million Ruination. Like, that, honestly, this flows really well. It feels really fun, man. All you gotta do is just watch your procs here. Like, whenever you get a Diabolic Art, which, to clarify, a Diabolic Art proc or whatever is essentially when you get a pet to spawn, like in about, I don't know, 5 seconds here, roughly, give or take. All right, right about now, the pet is queued up. There. Your next Soul Shard spend summons a Mother of Chaos. This is also the queue for like your Diabolic Art to give you a reduced cast time on your bolts and everything else. Like this thing. There's no separate aura for it, but it's there. I'm going to stop here. Doesn't matter, it's fine. Chaos Bolt. Max hit 1.2 million. Shadow Burn, max hit 1.15 million. This is being buffed by 25%. This is being buffed by 20%. This is being buffed by Incinerate 15. Conflict Rate also being buffed by 25%. Ritual of Ruin being nerfed from 10 shards to 15 essentially. So this would be a bit lower overall. But like I said, those rituals coming in at the 14-second duration versus 20 is going to be a pretty big difference. And the Fellseeker, the Ruination, the Chaos Salvo, Wicked Cleave, Infernal Bolt, all from Diabolist as well. Look at Ruination being right here. It crit twice, to be fair, for 2.7 million. This is being buffed by 70%. It crit, to be fair. Non-crits at 1.35, but still, it's pretty high. Infernal Bolt, not as good, but it does give 3 shards, right? These buffs are pretty big. We're going to see where it goes. They're going to tune things likely again at some point after this comes in, but Locke is going to be cranking in next beta build. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video and hopefully help clarify on some of the buffs that came in today. I'm surprised. Some of these buffs are massive and will likely need some maybe further tuning down the line, but abilities that are buffed today, like Unstable Affliction, even like Incinerate and Conflict Rate, probably were needed. The Shadowburn one, we'll see where it goes. The Bolt one was definitely needed, and we'll see where hero talent tuning all it lands, but I'm glad to see we're on the radar. Lock looks good. These buffs were fun to play. Hopefully we're going to be good damage-wise. A lot of feedback from my videos, but not mine. Just I shouldn't even say that. Everyone collectively from the Lock Discord, people that work on sims that are smarter than me, Malakath, Magnify, as Summer, Saldi, or everybody. I'm forgetting people, I'm sure, but everybody put in crazy work lately. I'm glad to see this is getting looked at and fixed, and they're crushing it, man. So be sure to support them in the Lock Discord as well, because you know, I'm not very smart, but they are. Either way, if you guys have any week or add-ons, Twitch, Discord, links down below. You can get it for free. And also a huge shout out to my patrons. Like always, we're also supporting on Patreon. Thank you a million times. Greatly. I really appreciate it. If you guys are looking at supporting on Patreon, should be a link up here. It's both down below in the description. And heads up, the War Within beta spreadsheet for Warlock is indeed live on Patreon for the tier 3 Belgar rank or higher. Gets early access to it, but it does go live publicly regardless before the expansion launches. And yeah, there is that. So we will see what the build holds tomorrow. The build is not live, once again, to clarify here. I'll be streaming the build tomorrow, or tomorrow or Thursday, whenever it happens. The changes, so on and so forth, and we'll go from there. But these numbers are big. It looks good. And also, Mages and Hunters got nerfed today, which is, you know, pretty cool, because, let's be honest, we're the best range out there, and, you know, yeah. So, all that being said, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you all again soon on stream. Peace.